Yo guys, S-Man here, and today we've recently got some news on Journey, so I'm back to discuss some of this. I'm going to start off with this poster because some of the other stuff I want to go more in depth on. But we have a poster. We have, of course, Ash's team with Infernape, which, based off this poster, Infernape could possibly be like Charizard was in Black White and return to be on Ash's team for a bit. I feel like he might keep, if not, he keeps it for the entire series and just hard it, but more uses it in specific battles. I think, possibly if Ash keeps it on his team, I think that will definitely 100% lead into a battle with Paul. If he keeps it on his team more than a few episodes. But then also on this poster we get Absol, which is most likely gonna go to Ash or Go. Most likely Go, more likely than Ash, because Ash already has a full team, plus some of his Pokemon are obviously gonna return. People do say that Go's gonna catch Absol because it's on Go's side of the poster. But also Gengar is, but that's Ash's Mon. So I don't think that's the only... That's 100% evidence that Go's catching it. Then we see Grookey dabbing, of course. And we get an Alolan Ninetales. So this could be one of two things. Either Go just goes to Ash and Go to Alola, probably just whatever island has the snow area, and then Go just catches a Vulpix or Ninetales. Simple as that. Or when they go to the Crown Tundra during Project Mew, they could possibly run into Lily or Gladion and it evolves. That would be my preferred option, of course. But moving on, we finally got some confirmation. Sorry for the quality of the image. We learned that these are the only one of Ash's Pokemon returning. Everything in this shot is returning. No Sceptile, nothing. But yeah. And then, of course, we get some little information about each of his Pokemon. For example, Weasel, it says he was traded. It was given to him by Dawn through a trade. Charizard had some training in a far-off place. Then we go to this side. We also recently got this title, Go's Rival, The Road to Mew. So definitely Go's going to be getting a rival during the Project Mew arc. Either the guy with the Urshifu, I'm sorry, I do not remember his name. The girl, I think her name's Asahi. I could be wrong. That could be the guy's name. And Gary. Alright. I'm gonna try to figure out one. It's not Gary. I don't think it's Gary, nor want it to be Gary. In my opinion, Gary works as Ash's rival because no matter what they're doing, he can be researching. Ash could be still doing World Coronation stuff, but Gary has always been one step ahead of Ash and is shown to always be a step ahead of him. So possibly, I'm gonna go more into that in a bit when we get to Gary. As we shown, Ash wins Battle Frontier. Gary completely destroys him and Pikachu. Ash wins the Orange League. Gary beats them. Gary always ones up Ash. So possibly, if we don't... Alright, I'll explain this more in my video, or later in the video. An idea I have. But out of the girl and the Asahi, I think her name is, and this guy, he's more likely to be Go's rival, just because I would enjoy him. I feel like he's more of an antagonistic rival, like Gary was at first. Just from his one line in the show, where he's like, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead. That seems like a cocky thing to say, especially if Ash, to a trainer who had a Cinderace, who, from the show, we know Go Cinderace was in the ice area at one point, so possibly Go Cinderace was out at his Pokeball during the Regice attack, and most likely, I wouldn't be surprised if Ash has sent out another Pokemon, probably Infernape or Lucario. But that guy still says it like it was like he one-upped them. So he seems like more of the cocky guy. The Asahi, I think her name is. I'm sorry if I get the names wrong. I'll remember it more when they finally are introduced. But I think we don't really get to see her personality much. That's the only thing like that excludes her from being Gohs' rival. Possibly she could be another rival, similar to how Ash's main rival is B at the moment, and he has kind of Rinto and Hodge. If Hodge wants to continue being his rival and like more side recurring rival characters, but B is the main one at the moment. Then we get a shot of the raid battle against Moltres, Gary using his Blastoids Electivire, Ash using his Infernape Pikachu, and Go using his Cinderace. Now, for who will catch it, I think Go will make an attempt but fail, but ultimately I think it's either Ash or Gary going to catch it. I could be wrong, though. I would 100% prefer Gary to catch it, and this is why. Gary, all along, personally, I think Ash is more of the type to have Articuno, Go Zapdos, of course, like as shown in the Zapdos episode. And Gary would be Moltres to counter Ash's Articuno. We even see this slightly in we see Gary has out of the typing, he has a big water and an electric type. He doesn't have a fire on his current team, or he does have fire types like his Magmar, but with his current like rotation, I feel a fire type like Moltres would fit, because we see Blastoise and Electivire, and it would be assumed that he would have his Umbreon with him. But as for why Ash could catch it, I don't know. Possibly he feels pride for Infernape beating it, so he catches it. But I really do feel Ash is more of a Articuno type of catcher. Now moving on to this, we're gonna see Ash versus Iris. It's not much new information, but there's still some confirming. It's confirming they are not confirming. They're like indirectly confirming. It's a 2-on-2, even though we already saw that in the trailer. But they haven't. But they also are trying to keep Iris' second Pokemon a secret, because they outright say Ash is using Dracovish and Dragonite, but they only say Iris is using her Dragonite. So that can mean one of two things: either Iris' Dragonite claps Dracovish and Dragonite, or they're trying to hide her next Pokemon, which could possibly be a Gabite, but more likely Haxorus. Now, this is just one quick prediction I have. Possibly, we know Iris is champion, so possibly they can make reference to Ash is champion, so we'll have a two champions battle. And this is going back into what I was trying to say earlier about possibly how Ash could say, with the Project Mew starting after Iris' return, possibly this can be more when we hear about Ash's champion role in Alola. So possibly he could tell Gary about it, or Gary already knew because from Oak or something. And then possibly they battle at one point, because at one point it was teased that they would have a battle, and then possibly Gary will beat Ash, showing that although Ash is a champion, Gary's a researcher. Gary still has a lot of battling experience that could still be a champion level. Or he can one-up Ash by catching a literal legendary, which is more likely to happen. But anyway, guys, that's all the news from this magazine for Journeys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and will subscribe for more Pokemon content in the future. Goodbye.